can't say this enough because we haven't had good news the last few days, weeks, and months. This is some good news, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Kenyans should be proud. The whole world is coming here. Big decisions will be made. The global environmental agenda will be set here. Anyone who's anyone in environmental management will be in Nairobi. So it's a big deal for Kenyans. And it started being a big deal 42 years ago.
Next week, 1,300 delegates. Secretary General is coming. The President is going to be at the closing ceremony. Deputy President is opening this ceremony.
Yeah.
I mean, goodness, Kenyans need to take a step back and realize that this country of ours is the hub, not just of, not just the global headquarters for an outfit like this,
right?
But it's a hub for a lot of things, isn't it?
Right, absolutely. Well, first thing, hub is the right word, right? It's a hub for ideas. It's not a surprise that Wangari Maathai came from Kenya. UNEP had been here since '72, right? Kenya was less than 10 years old, and it still had the audacity to go out there and fight for a global headquarters. And there had been none other in anywhere outside Europe and North America until then. It's a hub for, and the coming of the UN here and UNEP here started this idea of Nairobi as a place where expatriates, the global community could come and work. And it's continued since. So after UNEP has come IBM, General Electric. And so what Kenya is in business terms really has a lot to do with having had the guts to actually fight for UNEP in the first place.
Yeah, and the doomsday sayers who turn around and say, everyone's packing up and leaving Kenya. What is this? What kind of message is this sending?
Jeff, go to the airport. People are not packing up to leave Kenya. People are coming to Kenya. Listen, we have our challenges, and the challenges are there. But the fact is, the trend for Kenya is upwards. The trend for Kenya is for us to be the bridge between Africa and the rest of the world. The trend for Kenya is for increasing amounts of capital, the most exciting people, artists, scientists, to come here to Nairobi and here to Kenya. That's the trend. Our challenges are there, just like challenges are there for many, many countries. But our trend is upwards. And the trend with UNEP especially has been ever upward. When UNEP was upgraded a few years ago to be the Global Environment Authority, the Kenyan government had a huge amount to do with that. We fought for it very hard for years because we thought that's what it should become.
Yeah. I asked Akim and Sally this question earlier on. If someone is coming to Kenya, to Africa for the very first time,
yes,
after seeing the images of Mpeketoni, after seeing Westgate 9 months ago, and they've been assigned to come to Kenya,
yes,
what do you tell them?
We tell them we're waiting for you. The rest of the world will be here. We have worked very closely with the UN, with the UN security, with all our UN our security branches to make sure the delegates are safe. But listen, Jeff, the world generally is not a paradise. It's not just, not every part of the world lacks challenges. Across the Sahel, all the way to the Horn, up through the Middle East, all the way across Asia to Pakistan, this challenge is being faced. So the world will come to Nairobi not just for the environment capital, but because the world has to continue doing its business.
Yeah.
We're not going to say the world should stop making important decisions, the world should stop engaging, because there are a bunch of lunatics trying to kill Kenyans.
The fact that you're Kenya's permanent rep to UNEP, I mean, that's, and then it becomes UNEA from next week. That's a big deal for you all, isn't it? I mean, you are flying the flag.
First of all, it's the greatest honor of my life to be there, and will be a big delegation led by Cabinet Secretary Wahungu. Ambassador Amina will be there. The Deputy President will come to open the high-level proceedings, and we want our President to come and close the high-level proceedings along with the Secretary General. And so it's going to be a great showcase for us. Actually, this is our World Cup. I was actually telling someone, they have 32 countries, we have 170.
We have 5 times that.
Yes,
yeah?
That's right.
Even though Harambee Stars are in Rio. No, that's another story. At the end of the day,
yes,
Ambassador, despite the doom and gloom, and you know, it happens, and like you said, it happens everywhere.
Yes.
Can we turn this around? Can we use next week as the symbol moving forward and say, you know what? Kenya is standing strong.
This week, we have 100 ministers from the African, Pacific, Caribbean region, trade ministers. They're here at KICC. They were safe, great meeting, very smooth. Next week, we have 170 countries. This is not doom and gloom. This is success. This is Kenya being the site of global conversations, not just a conference. It's where the decisions are made. And when decisions are made in your country, those decisions have a good chance to reflect the things your country needs, because the people making those decisions are here, looking at you, talking to you, interacting with you. And so there will be no doom and gloom next week. It's going to be a great showcase for Kenya.
Yeah. Robert Ogenda is saying, on a scale of 1 to 10, how is Africa doing in terms of the environment?
Now, that is an interesting question. One is, if you take Kenya, for instance, our constitution actually gives every Kenyan the right to a clean and healthy environment. That is increasingly a direction African countries are going to. Most African countries have not destroyed their economies, their environments, sorry. And so in terms of the condition of our environment, we're in pretty good shape. But if we continue growing using the models from elsewhere that have essentially said you get rich by destroying your environment, then we're going to destroy our own environment. And I think that's why Kenya and a lot of African countries are beginning now to think, how should we actually do it differently? And Jeff, not to talk too much, but Kenya is being asked to do something amazing. We're being asked, can you become rich and not destroy your environment? No one has ever done that before. And so our attempt to do it is going to be watched by the whole world.
Absolutely. Patrick Solomon, hello. Kindly ask your guests if there's any voluntary services, both online and physical. I mean, what is this, an employment agency here? Everyone's asking for a job. Everyone wants to work for you guys.
That's a Kenyan. Tell him to tweet me at Kenya Diplomat.
At Kenya
Diplomat. That's it.
You hear that, Patrick Solomon? Tweet at Kenya Diplomat. Here's another one. You're going to love this. Linda Mimi says, JKL should consider moving from the Intercontinental. Too much embarrassing cutlery in the background. Distracting from the conversation. Linda, I totally agree. Where should we go? United Nations in Gigiri? There's a little prop for you guys. Okay, Edgar Okova says, I hope Kenyan politics will not interfere with UNEA activities in the country. You know, politics is our bread and butter, it's our religion.
Look, I think the environment is a Kenyan affair. The environment is not political. We all live here. So I don't think that politics will come into it. But I can sense what this person is saying, given some of the utterances and given some of the issues that have been going on. But I actually think everyone next week should come together and see this as a Kenyan achievement. When we were bringing UNEP here in 1972, the politics of today were not there, right? So we should all celebrate it.
Yeah. This General Assembly will be every 2 years.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the fact that it's happening in late June, and then the United Nations General Assembly in New York is usually what, September or so?
Yes, September to December.
I mean, that's one General Assembly after another.
Well, this one is not the General Assembly, it's Environmental Assembly. So the decisions here will then be taken to New York. And in New York, they will then be sort of taken and put inside new ways of doing things, especially through the Sustainable Development Goals. The thing, Jeff, is when people watch us diplomats going about our business, you're wearing your tie, there's a cocktail or something of the sort, there's this conference where everyone is talking, it looks like a huge topic, right? But basically what we're doing is debating how should we approach air quality? How should we approach water? Then we take those declarations, right? And they go to New York and they're turned into goals Their time and to be measured, for the world to say, look what Kenya has done, look what Uganda has done, look what the United States has done. And it's a way for us to take what we want as a country and make sure that it has a global dimension. Because so many of the things we're trying to do don't end at our borders.
Sure. Bottom line, 42 years after this headquarters was created out of the coffee farm out there, UN is still relevant?
UN, it means decent jobs for Kenyans. UN means a place of intellectual ferment, creativity that is fed by our creativity and intelligence. The majority of people in that compound are Kenyans. The majority of professionals in that compound are Kenyans. And so again, Kenyans continue to bring their competitive, intellectual, capable selves. And that's why they're all asking you for a job.
Yeah, Patrick Solomon is already probably tweeting you at Diplomat Kenya, at Kenya Diplomat.
Yes.
Bottom line, by the end of next week, Ambassador, what do you hope to gain, not just for you, but for this country, for this continent? What do you hope to come out of this first ever UNEA?
Good. Well, first, I hope there's going to be a ministerial debate on the illegal wildlife trade. I hope that the ministers, 100 or so ministers, say that the global environment needs to be stricter on trafficking, that more needs to be done on demand, because simply speaking, the demand for ivory and wildlife products is so high that if the world doesn't actually reduce that demand, we're going to have a very hard time actually stopping poaching. So I hope that happens. I hope when it comes to the Sustainable Development Goals, our government wants to see a strong declaration. And that strong declaration will take it and bat it across to New York. And in New York, it'll find a Kenyan who's actually chairing the committee that is crafting the Sustainable Development Goals. And these are going to be the goals that guide the world for the next 20 years.
Yeah. Dr. Felix Olale, congrats to a great Kenyan, my friend Ambassador Kimani, plus UNEA team for achieving global headquarters for UN station in Nairobi. You know Dr. Felix?
I know Dr. Felix. That's one of the most brilliant Kenyans around. Yeah.
Does he work for you guys?
No, we can't afford him.
Good answer. Good answer. Dorothy Njirithia, she's asking, Ambassador Kimani, what is UNEA doing to give direction for waste management for world cities?
Wow, that's a very technical question. I think there's going to be a resolution on waste, but in terms of the urbanization project, I think much of that work is being done at Habitat, which is also headquartered here in Nairobi. So if she reaches me, actually I would like as many Kenyans as possible to reach out to us, not just to me, Professor Wahungu, Ambassador Amina, just reach out, use Twitter, use Facebook, tell us what you're thinking, tell us what you think is important, and we'll take all these things into account.
Absolutely. Last tweet, Sky T Kariuki says, Martin is so positive on this. Why are you so positive about this whole thing? Why?
I had the good fortune to be born a Kenyan. I have the good fortune to serve my country. I have the good fortune to live at a time when Kenya is at an inflection point. Kenya is, you know, a lot of rich countries today, you don't have the same opportunities a Kenyan has. We have the opportunity to build a country. We have the opportunity to do something new. Very few people have that opportunity. So that's why I'm positive. And these challenges, Jeff, that we're all talking about and that we're feeling pained by, these challenges are not unique to us. They've been overcome before, and we will overcome them.
We shall overcome, like Martin Luther King said. Ambassador.
And welcome back to Nairobi. The last time I saw you was in Djibouti.
That's right. We were together out there.
Yeah, that's right.
I first went to Djibouti when it was this big, man. It was a little outpost.
It's still that small, but a great place.
Doing well?
Yeah.
Good to see you, Ambassador.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
What is it? At Kenya Diplomat?
At Kenya Diplomat.
You heard that. Patrick Solomon, apply for a job at Kenya Diplomat. And my Twitter handle is at KenangaJeff. The hashtag is JKL. There is some good news coming out of Kenya. None too soon. Let's spread the word, folks. It's not all about doom and gloom. It's not all about politics. We can take a deep collective breath and know that things are getting better out there. Take it from me and the guest we had tonight. Kenya is on the up and up. By the way, This program repeats again tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. And if you want a World Cup update, what are the scores? Okay, D, what are the scores? You don't even know. Okay, switch channels. Next week, new show, new topic, new guests, same place, same time. Thanks so much for being a part of Jeff Konenge Live all this week. Thanks for watching. You can only find us right here on Kenya's television network, KTN. Thanks once again. Good night and good luck.
Such a champion.
Thanks, Belozi. Good stuff.
That's fantastic. Thank you.
Okay, the